The climate crisis is hitting Bangladesh particularly hard. It's making parts of the country frankly unlivable, and that means that lots of people are on the move. The World Bank recently predicted that by the year 2050 there will be 20 million internal climate refugees in Bangladesh. Bangladeshi climate expert Saleemul Huq says that already hundreds of thousands of people are being displaced.
Particularly from the low-lying coastal zone, which is being most badly affected by sea level rise and salinity intrusion. And people are simply not able to grow crops anymore and have to leave.
So where should these climate refugees go? That's the theme of this week's FM4 Klimanews.
FM4 Klimanews.
Most of the people forced to flee their homes because of climate change end up in the capital, Dhaka. That's where most of the jobs are found. But so many people arriving is a ticking social bomb.
Bangladesh suffers from what is called prime city phenomena, which is one big city where everybody ends up in. And Dhaka is the capital. It's the fastest growing megacity in the world. And another 10 million climate migrants, which is sort of the ballpark figure over the next 10 plus years that are predicted, will simply burst at the seams.
So where should they go instead? Well, maybe to a place like this. Mongla is a river town 50 kilometres upstream from the Bay of Bengal. It's a town that's being developed to accept climate refugees. Saleemul Huq and his organisation have been developing this idea. They call it transformative adaptation.
The concept that we are putting forward of what we call climate resilient, migrant friendly towns is to try and attract these potential migrants to not end up in Dhaka city, but to come to these other towns and offer them opportunities for them to be there.
So, physical infrastructure to keep out the floodwaters, job creation initiatives, great educational facilities. That all sounds really super, but who pays? Well, right now it's mostly Bangladeshis who are paying, although Bangladesh only contributes 0.56% of the global emissions that are causing the climate crisis. So, is that really fair?
As it happens, this particular problem of human-induced climate change causing people to be displaced and migrate has a global causal relationship with pollution. The polluters who cause the problem have some level of responsibility to the victims of their pollution. And in the international negotiations, most recently at COP26 in Glasgow, this issue was raised by the developing countries for compensation or paying loss and damage, it's called in the UN Framework Convention. And they didn't get anywhere. The rich countries don't want to pay.
Well, that's not entirely accurate. Rich countries don't want to pay when it's poor countries that are hit by the ravages of the climate crisis. But when our own countries are flooded, such as those huge floods in Germany last summer, well then, the checkbooks do come out.
The Chancellor at that time, Angela Merkel, visited. She acknowledged this was because of human-induced climate change. She actually immediately gave 500 million euros. That bill has now risen to well over 10 billion euros of compensation to the victims, the German citizen victims of human-induced climate change. Now, we have no argument with that. That was the right thing to do as a responsible leader. But then when she came to Glasgow and we had the discussion in the COP and we asked for some money, she offered €0 for the rest of the world, the victims of the same human-induced climate change. And that, to me, is extremely unfair.
What do you think? Should we in the West be paying for at least some of the damage that the Bangladeshis are dealing with? Leave us a comment, tell us what you think. You're part of this project. Thank you very much. This was the FM4 Klimanews.